Here we are, day of the life, day in the life, session 5, bonus round, if you want to call it that. Basically, what I strive to do, at least lately, just because I'm kind of realizing that number one, I want to stay in the best shape I can when I don't have too much stuff, but also recognizing that there's just little ways to approach theory things and skills that probably every professional should have under the belt. And to be honest, like some I maybe didn't develop. So, yeah. So here's what I typically do. What I will say is I don't know if I'll go through everything. But normally what I first do is I take one of my, what's the word I'm looking for? Patterns, called the super scale. It's a really quick way. One of the things that I always default to tonguing my scales, but I realize I need to slur them. So a lot of times what I do is I'll do it twice. So I'll just stop talking and demonstrate. So normally I do this. Just demonstrate them all. Hopefully, this is where I might make some mistakes. Getting into the scary ones. Hopefully everyone recognizes that's probably the one most people are going to mess up on. Gotta slow down a little bit on them. All right, almost there. So there you go. So that's a quick way of, I should also say, like, maybe that's a pattern you hear and go, oh, I really like that. You could easily just make that your pattern. But I try to, again, tongue it and slur it. Next, I take another one of what I call my fundamental patterns, which is, it actually is called, it is literally called the Fundamental Pattern PDF. And what I do on this one is I pick different octaves that I didn't do on the last one, and I just work through this pattern, again, to work in different ranges. Here, ooh, it's not getting, it's freezing on me. Anyway, I got to empty the horn. There we go. All right, so you can see it's just, just ways of working in key signatures to get familiar and making sure that you're as solid as you can. Let me just make sure. All right, so here, so this concert B flat fundamental pattern, the one before was right in the staff, so I'm going to do the lower version. The next one I'm going to do in the upper octave because I didn't do it before. Next, the lower octave, again, because that's the opposite of what I did before. Again, the goal is to cover the entire range of the horn in multiple ways, multiple times, just so that you have the balanced routine. Same thing here. I did the upper octave, so I'll do the lower octave. In that case, I ended up using a lot of B-flat fingerings. That's the other thing you can do is work with different fingering or sides of the horn. So again, it's basically, it's all about intentionality. Just checking my spit. This next one, again, I'm going to do the lower range. Now here's where it gets interesting, because technically that's the same range as I did it, even though I didn't have it. So I just transposed it down the octave. Again, I'm still just feeling a little bit of spit somewhere. Haven't quite found it yet. I'm sure I will soon. Good old 6 sharps. 6 sharps. Alright, then upper octave for this one. Now the lower octave for concert A. Lower octave for concert D. Probably B flat fingerings. Again, this one again I go down the octave. Concert C is also the lower one. Finally, concert F, upper octave. Again, just to keep maintaining the balance around the horn in terms of range, hitting all areas of the horn in a variety of ways. Oops, a little spit. Beautiful. All right, next up is normally where I go to my dominant 7 arpeggios. There we go. And again, I have to admit, these are not arpeggios that I would say that I, especially in my developmental years, college years, that I did a lot of. So, unfortunately, no, I mean, I know you need to know them. Obviously, everyone should know these. But it's not something that I probably have maintained as consistently as I should. But anyway, this is what usually comes next in my session 5 bonus round. Done. Next, tend to go to my diminished arpeggios. Same story as the dominant is learn them, but wasn't always consistent in maintaining them. Let me just check the spit. Okay. Missed to be sharp. J. And done. Usually next up, I'm just kind of checking the time because I have a limited amount of time, at least to record this, because I have to move on to a thing later. So I think I'll go ahead and I think I have enough time to at least do the two other. There's three things left that I normally do. Although I technically have done this before in a different capacity, I like to revisit my 2-octave major scale and minor arpeggios, or sorry, minor scales. So I tend to do this next and just, again, try to have lots of opportunities, again, to cover the entire range of the horn. So this is usually what's next. A little brain fart. Darn it. Okay, here's concert or letter D. Sweet. Minimal mess ups. All right, two more things that I typically do. I actually might just go for it. Let me just empty. Now this next one is more just, I think it's just for fun. But I also realize that there's probably these intervals, you'll find them all over. So I like to do my whole tone scale sheet, which is right there. So this is one I've kind of grown fond of. So yeah, let me just empty, make sure everything's good to go. All right, so again, slow and steady wins the race. That's the thing we have to remind ourselves. Sweet. All right. Well, technically I have enough time. Part of me wanted to run out of time. The last thing I have started doing, and I'm the first to admit that it's not something that was pushed early in my developmental career, if you'll say. So it's something that always feels a little daunting. But I have been trying within this bonus session and within my daily routine to do my scale modes. And I would admit that the more I think about it from a developmental perspective and a logical perspective, I mean, it's really the best way to know that you know your scales. So anyway, I'm going to stumble through this, or maybe because I'm going slower and intentionally I won't. Here we go. Looks like you add that. All right, concert B flat. Concert E flat. Also nice to just go to that low range just to give your lips a little recovery, a little loosening, goosing. Okay. Next, 3 flats. Four flats. This is where I get to test how my lips are doing. Can I get the high D flat? But you also could do it an octave lower. A couple of these I always have to kind of slow down, but again, I think that's very normal. I hope for even a seasoned professional. 6 sharps. We're getting there. I just had a little finger flub. Wasn't even a mistake, but it just, yeah. Yeah, Heidi. Woohoo! Last one. All right, that is. I mean, I didn't know if I was going to get to it, but that is literally everything I try to intentionally get to every day as part of my session 5 routine. So anyway, with that said, I'll end with this. Obviously, this is what I'm personally doing, but I hope what you saw is, if you made it this far, is that you can pick and choose whatever you need. You can design your own routine. There's hundreds, if not, I mean, just on that one page alone, there's probably close to 100, probably 80, I don't know. But within this whole membership area, there are thousands of things you could do to design and grow and become the best player possible. The only thing I didn't model that, some of these you could buzz. Again, you can create your own platinum routine for yourself based on what you saw there, and that's my intention of this, is so that students and professionals alike can have all the tools they need to be as successful and prepared as possible. Preparation relieves pressure. You do not rise to an occasion. You fall to the level of your system. When opportunity presents itself, it's too late to prepare. What we do daily, our habits will define us. So with that said, happy practicing. Thank you kindly, and see you on the flip side.